Hey everybody, I am doing a review today, first impression, because I've not used these paints at all, but I was just going to talk a little bit about the transparent Createx paints and why I bought them and how I'm going to test them out a bit, get a first impression and show people what it looks like. Essentially, many of you are probably, if you're familiar with 40K and Eldar, you're probably familiar with this sort of look. Okay, as you know, I do Biel-Tan. This is from the Eldar Codex, and you can see these thorns that are a pattern on the bike, and then there's green around it of a different shade. There is highlighting here as well, but essentially I've seen this look, which I want to try doing thorns and try doing this kind of look, and also I was looking at other people's channels where they show Minotaur smoke paints. I think that's what they're called, something like that, ghost paints or something, and they're basically like a translucent paint that where people will shade, let's say, a rhino, you know, and they'll paint it sort of white or gray, and then they'll shade it darker with an airbrush, and then they'll actually lighten it with white on certain areas, and so you'll get this shaded sort of gray tone model, and then over the whole thing you apply a candy or transparent paint in layers that will capture those shadows but still be one monotone color. Maybe the right word isn't monotone because it is, you know, degrees of the same color, but it's basically you're using one color but getting various shading, you know, like that. And so I wanted to try this technique out. Now, the Minotaur paints I've not been able to find easily in Canada. When I looked at, I had some recommendations for an online store, and to get the paints I essentially had to pay the same amount as the paints for shipping. It would have cost me about $80-something, and I did not want to spend that much on paint that I've never used before, despite having seen good effects on other people's channels. So I noticed that Createx transparent paint was available to me. Still had to order it within Canada, and I paid some shipping, and so I ended up getting 3 colors. Reason being, I want to test these two for my Biel-Tan. This is forest green, I believe. Let me just see where, yeah, forest green, and this one is tropical green. There was a leaf green, but it looked fairly similar to the tropical green, and it didn't come in this size, which was a pretty good deal. It was like 5 something for a pretty huge bottle of paint. Now, I got this orange one. I have thought about doing some orange Biel-Tan just because they do have some orange in the color scheme, but that's really not the primary reason. That's not really even what I'm thinking about at the moment. I am highly considering doing a Space Marine army next year, and in that army that I want to do is the Knights of Griffin, which is an orange, primarily orange army with some black like in their backpacks. And I actually just like, they're kind of an unknown army, but I like the color scheme, and I like what little I know about the established lore. There's very little, almost nothing, but they were sort of wiped out by Tyranids, and they're a spacefaring fleet, and I just think there's a lot you can do with that from a fluff perspective, as well as the armor looks really cool. So that's why I got this, just because I want to, in case I do that, I figure I might as well get some of this. So what I've done, and I realize these don't look great because I was just practicing, because I've never done this before. What I've done is I've painted some thorns. I've painted them in 2 colors, Abaddon black, and I painted in, where is it? Caliban green. Okay, so Abaddon black on the right, Caliban right on Abaddon black, Caliban green, Abaddon black, Caliban green. The plan is to actually layer with both of these colors to see how they look, how they cover, how they look with a black, you know, vine and how they look with a green vine, because I want to see how I need to balance this effect to get the best look with what I've got. Lots of preface, lots of things to preface that with. And so I am going to, and mind you, I don't really know how to dilute these well, so this is really a first impression. I am going to see how thick these things are, these translucent paints, and then water further with water, just pure water is what I'm going to use. So I will be back when I've got my cup filled. The other thing I'll mention, I'm not doing a review today, but I'm using today a Viper Talon. Excuse me, a Posh Talon. I don't know, I got Viper stuck in my head for some reason in describing this. I don't know why. But basically, my other airbrush needs to be refurbished a bit. I made a dumb mistake a while ago with it when cleaning it, and thought I really took care of it, but I ended up getting some paint where it shouldn't in the business end up front, and I need to repair that. But in the meantime, I wanted to try this airbrush. I know what I did as a mistake last time, and I'm not planning ever on doing it again. But from what I've used this for so far, it's actually been pretty good, and so that's what I'm going to use today. I'll be right back when I've got my first cup filled. Hey everybody, so I am back, and I've got my little card here with the vines. I did do a test mix and a quick just on a paper towel just to see that I got the consistency right. I have my gun at about 20 psi, a little less than 20, about 18 psi, and then I use this stuff at 3 drops of water to 1 drop of this ink, and it seems to be fairly potent even at that, but a nice liquid consistency. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to try to start at the bottom and move up and vary a bit I'm going to start this side and move left and vary a bit the actual amount of application, just to get a sense of how much I should be putting on. I started with that forest green because, and this is in the cup here, because it seems to be, I think it's the one that I want, whereas the tropical I got just in case, and so I'm just going to start with the one that I think I need. I use that high amount of water so you can see there's a little bit of glare there from the water, just the paint not drying yet, and so where I'm applying it thicker, just blowing a little air on that. I'm going to just wipe off the tip of my needle real quick here, because I'm getting a little bit of this stuff building up. it is taking quite a bit of time to get a darkening. If you look at the bottle itself, it's quite dark, and that would lead me to believe that it has the capability of getting much darker than this, just because, you know, the bottle itself, which is right here, the concentrated paint is quite dark. And so I suppose it's nice that if I can get it that dark pretty soon, it's nice that I can get this sort of varying effect. Okay, so looking here at which one I might like better, you know, I think I like the dark green. Now, I'm just going to look back at this book. Unfortunately, I lost the page. I haven't kept it out. But let me see if I can... I'll just... Here we go. So, this is what I showed initially. So what I was trying to achieve. Got a bit of glare here. You know, they definitely do some highlighting, for sure. Just could almost get that effect here just by actually focusing on the center and not as much on the sides to get that highlighting effect. I think that this could achieve a similar effect with this paint. I might have to go over it a bit more though, and I might have to actually not use as much water. What I'm going to do now, because I don't want to really leave this, I want to just try something else out. Since I have it in my gun, I'm going to clean my gun, come right back, and actually just spray some 1-to-1 of paint to water just to see what that looks like at the top of this. Okay, be right back. Okay everybody, so I am back. I've got this just as 1-to-1 now. I just want to see, you can see this green here on the left. I want to see how long it takes and what I can get to by using a more concentrated dilution of this. Whoa, it's going pretty quickly. Now I'm just blowing some air at this because it just came out really wet. You know, it definitely is a little harder to work with than it was before. Like the other was definitely more gradual, allowed for maybe some more mistakes, or, you know, to not drastically change it right up front. I'm almost wondering whether, not in this video, but I'm wondering whether I'm going to be trying 2-to-1. to get somewhere in between. Now this is starting to come out kind of nice. And I am out now. That's the problem of not having a lot, but as you can see, I actually got there pretty quickly by just making it more concentrated. Okay, so that's sort of darker to lighter as you go from right to left, and then it gets really light and then dark again from what I just did. Okay, I'm going to come back and do the same thing, just with the other green. Okay, I am back with a new card, new paint. I'm now using the tropical green. This stuff, I must admit, I should have done it exactly the same way to compare the two. And actually, you know what? I will. I'll just put a little more water in. I did it as 2-to-1, but maybe I'll just do it as 3-to-1. They're different pigments, and I expect this one to be lighter, and I expect it to be more difficult to get this one to show up. Like if the last one took a while, you know, from what I'm used to, this one should take even longer because it's a lighter green. Sorry, I'm just mixing up my paint here. But just to keep this more scientific, I'll do exactly what I did before. I just kind of thought maybe I should do 2-to-1 just from what I was just saying. So here we go. Through the viewfinder it almost looks yellow, but definitely on the right, looking in person, and I suspect on the video, because I always find the video does show more than the viewfinder what it looks like. It definitely looks green, showing up green. Got a little bit of speck there, sputtering there. Okay, I am out of paint, and so that's kind of what this one looks like. So far, I think that I like both. I mean, I like this one on the right, you know, where it's laid on thicker than where it looks almost yellow. But I'm going to do it concentrated again on the left here. And I put a little bit more in the cup so I don't run out like I did last time. And but from what I see so far, I like the color green better than the black, I mean, from what I'm trying to achieve. I like the other color we did first better for most of what I want to use this for. I could see in some cases wanting to do the lighter green. I just did a Spiritzer, which I'll be showing in the near future, a lighter green than my normal Biltan. But I guess I could actually see this as an accent color to the darker green. If I go all the way on the right, like make that a nice green, light green. I could see it as a nice accent color somehow if I actually had the two different pieces of the model and sprayed them separately. I'll be just be right back. I'm just gonna try concentrate it again on the left and see what we can get this color to. Okay, I am back. Now I have it just 1-to-1 like I did before, keeping in line with what we did on the first one here. Okay. Like before, it's showing up really quick. Need some drying time. It gets really wet really fast. There we go. I think right about here it's starting to look kind of like tropical green like advertised. Just blowing this off a bit just to dry it. So now I do have it a bit darker on the right here. So it doesn't take that many. You have it concentrated like this, it doesn't really take, and that's just diluted 1:1. It doesn't take too much to get it kind of dark. Now I'm out of paint. So there we go. Dark to light from the right, but then it gets really dark when I kind of did that over there on the end, which is kind of nice. I think that must be the sweet spot of the paint. I guess it depends on what you're looking for as to what you want. Like for Biel Tan, I kind of like the dark green rather than the black. If I was to get really, really dark green, I might want to go to block, but I just haven't with these. Okay, so that's just hopefully that helps somebody, because I didn't see any decent videos with these transparent Createx paints online that I could really compare. And so hopefully that that's helpful to someone as to know what to expect. Okay, take care everybody.